A judge has confirmed that Donald Trump will not be prosecuted. The president-elect instead will be sworn in next year without this cloud hanging over his head. Joining me now is former White House Chief of Staff and now Bondi Partners consultant Mick Mulvaney. Mick, great to see you. First of all, I mean, we knew this was going to happen. Trump might likely have pardoned himself anyway. So this is a mere formality, but one that Trump will no doubt be celebrating.
True, and he may still attempt to pardon himself. That's theoretically possible, so it's certainly not outside the bounds of what he might be considering tonight. But this was a foregone conclusion for a very specific reason, which is in our system, the Department of Justice has a standing policy that they don't pursue sitting presidents. And there was simply no way that they would allow this case to sit for 4 years. Plus, Donald Trump is getting ready to take over the Department of Justice in January of next year when he gets sworn in as president. And it's highly likely that his incoming Attorney General, Pam Bondi from Florida, would likely have dismissed the case anyway. So yes, you're right, it's a foregone conclusion, but it is a huge win for Donald Trump. By the way, we're hearing tonight that it's going to happen again with the documents case. The documents that he kept at Mar-a-Lago were involved in another lawsuit, another criminal charge by the Department of Justice. What this doesn't do, Laura, is get rid of many of the state cases, the Georgia case on election interference and some of the cases in New York, although those will probably go on hiatus while he's in president. So it is a big win for him. It's not entirely out of the woods, but 90%, and I'm sure they're very happy tonight in Mar-a-Lago.
What do we read into his cabinet picks and who he's picked to essentially run the show for the next 4 years and be his right-hand men and women? What does it say about his priorities and what he wants to get done?
It's a fascinating sort of thing to look at. If I saw a theme, it's this. And maybe there's a slot for you, Laura, once I get finished with this. What I think one of the things he used to complain to me all the time about in the first term was that nobody was on television helping him sell his policies, that he didn't think that folks were doing enough to get on television to sort of advocate to the public for his agenda. And what you're seeing now is him going into the world of not only television, but folks who are good on television. And then he's putting the real policy people inside the White House. What you're really sort of seeing is someone like, there'll be someone in the White House working on immigration policy, and then he's named South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. She's really good on TV. He's picked a television personality for defense. He's picked a television personality for the Department of Transportation. He's picked a television personality for Health and Human Services. So there's a lot of different places where people will be on TV, which means that there might be a place for you in the upcoming administration. You never know.
Okay, well, I'll note that down and send in my CV, perhaps, Mick Mulvaney. It's really interesting because he's really valuing good communicators, essentially, isn't he?
It is. Well, this is coming back to Trump as businessman. I think he tried Trump as Washington person last time, and he didn't like it. He's going back to business. How do I sell what I'm trying to do? Who is the best person to go on television other than myself? This is him thinking now, who can say why we're doing something in immigration. And it's going to be Kristi Noem from South Dakota. She's excellent, and be a lot more cabinet people on television in the 4 years to come.
Well, he's got a huge mandate. He can essentially do whatever he wants, and he won on every single metric that you look at. The polling companies, again, failed us. It's really hard to know. I mean, you could always pick up sentiment, but one thing that struck me is that people in those swing states that said they didn't like Donald Trump personally were still going to vote for him. And I think that's something we should take note of. The polling companies underscoring him again in terms of support. Obviously, Republicans or those that wanting to support Trump just didn't engage in that process. I find it really interesting, though, the Elon Musk appointment. Having seen Donald Trump up close and how he does operate with people. And these are two big personalities, right? Musk and Trump. Can you see that ending badly? Or do you think Trump will just let him do his thing?
I don't see it ending badly because both men have so much to lose if they have that falling out, right? It will be curious. I will be curious to see how they work. I've met Elon Musk in the White House, I don't know, 5, 6 times. I have no idea what we talked about. I mean, the man was operating at such a different level that I'm not really sure what he was there to talk about. So I would be curious to see how he integrates himself into the Trump organization, or whether or not he sort of remains a sort of a free agent off on his own. My guess is it will be the latter. That's going to be the way he puts his abilities to work most effectively. But I don't see them falling out badly, because both gentlemen would lose a great deal, and they're both smart enough to not get in that type of situation.
And the other thing that fascinated me as well is Matts Gaetz. He didn't last long as the nominee for Attorney General either. But it seems like, you know, we got that chestnut. I don't want to be a distraction, so I'm no longer in the running for this job. But Trump was particularly silent, didn't come out and defend him at all, from what I can see during that process.
I've talked to dozens of people inside the campaign, outside the campaign in Washington, D.C., and no one seems to understand why Matts Gaetz was tapped in the first place.
Okay.
It just simply makes no sense. Go back to that model I just laid out of policy people in the White House and people who are really good on television, you know, in the cabinets. Matt's not particularly good on television. He's okay, but he's not excellent at it. And certainly he turns off half of the country right away. So it's sort of hard for him to sell the president's policies on television. So that one was very strange. My guess is, it's an educated guess, but it's still a guess, is that as a favor to Matts Gaetz, to give him cover and to save face on leaving Congress, Donald Trump named him knowing that it would never go very far. No one in Washington, D.C. seriously thought that Matts Gaetz was ever going to get confirmed by the Senate.
Wow, particularly Machiavellian. Did cross my mind as well. So, interesting one. Mick Mulvaney, great to talk to you as always. We'll see you soon.